okay, we'll just pick it up here. Number 3, we're going to write an equation for this line. We did these earlier in the year. Does anybody remember what that's going to look like now? What do you get for an equation? Anna? Okay, that's close, but it's not y, because your y is 0 and negative 8. X equals 4. Okay, because in both of these x is 4, so that's your equation, x equals 4. And if you were going to graph those 2 points, you would have 4, 0, 4, negative 8. No matter what value you put in there for y, you're going to have a line. So therefore the equation x equals 4 works. Number 4, simplify. That means we have to do what with these, with this? FOIL them. Okay. Wrap it up like a baked potato. FOIL. So what'd you get when you foiled it? Jonas? Yes. Right. 5x squared minus 24x minus 77. In number 5, we're going to factor that, or we're going to unfoil it. We're going to think about that a little differently to get it to work. But really, if you go back to the way that we did it last quarter when we were learning these, remember the first thing you're going to do is set up your parentheses. You know you're going to have a 2x and an x. You got a minus here and a plus here, so that means you're going to have 2 minuses. And then all you have to do is find your factors of 24 and figure out which one works. So you got 24, 1, 12, 2, 8, 3, and 6, 4. You got this 2x, so you're going to be multiplying by 2. So 2 times 24 plus 1, that's not going to be 19. 2 times 1 plus 24 is not. So then we do the 12 and 2. 2 times 12 plus 2, no. 2 times 2 plus 12, no. 2 times 8 plus 3, what's 2 times 8 plus 3? 19. That's what we need. So we're going to have an 8 here and a 3 here, so we have the 2 times the 8 and the 3. Remember, if you go through those same steps to factor, it works. As long as we're working with a problem like this. Now, when you get to Algebra 2, you're going to see these and you're going to have like x to the 3rd, x to the 4th, x to the 5th, you know, and then you have to start doing some different processes. But you've got a couple of years before you have to figure that one out. Some of you got next year, if you pass this class. Okay, so let's get out our packet that we were working on yesterday. Okay, so how'd you do on these? Pretty easy to start with? Okay.
I forgot what a reciprocal was. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's, you're right along with about, yeah, pretty much everybody
It's like,
is doing the same thing, having the same problems. Okay, the first problem, the first one up here, all right, those two equations are equivalent. That's easy to figure out. But then, did you remember which property that is that you're using? Yeah, the distributive property. Okay, so it's, the first one there is the distributive property of multiplication over addition. Okay. And I know you hear me say that over and over again. We're going to distribute this. We're going to distribute this. Well, that's because it's the distributive property. On number 2 there, did all of you guys remember what that is? Okay, what is it, Ralph?
cube root.
Cubed root. And how do we find the cubed root? What's that mean, the cubed root? Right, the number that multiplied by itself 3 times. So what's the cubed root of 8? 2. So the cubed root of 8 equals 2. It's the same as 2 cubed equals 8. Okay. You don't have any trouble usually with this, but when you see this, and you can have any root value in there. It's not just, if there's nothing, if there's no number, remember it's the square root. If there's a number, you can have the cubed root, the quad root, the 5 root, 6 root, 10 root. I don't think you'll see on the test anything greater than the cubed root. But if you do, just know that that's what it is. If it's the quad root, that means number multiplied by itself 4 times. So that makes number 2, you have the square root of 16 plus the cubed root of 8, which gives you what for an answer? Vera? 6. Good. Number 3, we had x to the 6, x squared. Okay. So the first thing we got to do is figure out what would that be? What would that be? Remember, if we're multiplying like variables with exponents, what do we do with the exponents? Add them. Right, so this is equal to x to the 8. And then, because this gives you 4 choices, you just had to pick which one also gives you x to the 8. Okay, which is b, x to the 5th times x to the 3rd. And then number 4 came along, and that word that just stumped so many people, reciprocal.
I guess you're
Remember that, and I know if you think about it, you're going to say, oh, I remember him saying this. When you have like 2/3, you want to make it equal to 1, so you multiply it by the reciprocal. Okay? The reciprocal is the number that makes it equal 1. The reciprocal is the number that makes it equal to 1. So what would be, A there is -1. What would be the reciprocal for that? It'd be -1, or 1 over -1. Okay, if you've got a whole number, the reciprocal is going to be 1 over that number. And You can't multiply any two numbers ever and get 0. So therefore, 0 doesn't have a reciprocal. You can't multiply any number by 0 and get 1 because it's going to be 0. So then that brings us to number 5 there, the multiplicative inverse of 1/2. You know, some people call it like a Pepsi, some people call it a soda, some people call it a Coke, some people call it a soft drink, but it's all the same thing, depending on where you're from. Well, math is that way. We have a lot of terms that are the same, have the same meaning, and the multiplicative inverse is basically the reciprocal. Okay, so inverse means reversed. Inverse means reversed. So the multiplicative inverse of 1/2 is 2/1, or 2. Okay, number 6 there, you had, some of you, I'm sure, got it by guessing at it, using the trial and guess method. Okay. But there is a way to work it out. First off, what do those two lines mean? Absolute value, which means what? Right. It means whatever the result is inside those two brackets, it's going to be positive. So we had 2x minus 3, absolute value of 2x minus 3 equals 5. We have two values that will work for x. There's two numbers that are going to work for x. And again, like I said, and I know some of you did this method, the trial and guess, but you don't have to, because you can say 2x minus 3 equals 5. And negative 2x plus 3 equals 5. And solve for x. So in this one, I get 2x equals 8, or x equals 4. Here, I get, divide by negative 2, I get x equals negative 1. So my solution is negative 1 or 4. Letter C. Number 7 was, now, if you didn't know how to do this, we're gonna go right on by number 7 so that you can work that one out yourself, knowing that that's how you do it. Okay, number 8, we used we're using distributive property again. And all you're doing is reducing that to a smaller equation. Same with number 9. And these are all problems we've been doing over and over and over again for Belgium. And number 10, number 10, where does the 360 go in the equation? What? Right, so we replace the c in the equation with 360. Replace the c with 360, and all you have to do is solve for n. that should be pretty simple for you. Okay, I'm gonna give you a minute or so. I want you to work out number 7 if you didn't know how to do that. See what you get for an answer. Of course, I followed the math teacher instructions. I showed you how to do the easy one, and then I told you to do the hard one. So do one that was equal, and then gave you the inequality. What did we get for an answer? Anybody? What'd you get, Ben? D. Everybody get that? Everybody see? The way I did it is I started out by getting rid of this 5. So I had negative absolute value of x plus 4 plus n are equal to negative 8. Then I had negative x minus 4 plus n are equal to negative 8. And we're going to add 4 plus negative x less n are equal to negative 4. So then we don't want negative x, so it's going to become x greater than or equal to positive 4. x plus 4 is less than or equal to negative 8. Now I'm going to subtract 4. This means x is less than or equal to negative 12. Right, so today we're going to work on the next 10. You want to get up through 20, you've got 15 minutes left. Okay. Make sure that, because next week you're going to be in and out with testing and everything. But even though you're going to be testing your English, and next Friday you're going to be testing your science, you still by Monday, a week from Monday, you need to have all 80 questions done. And you need to be completely done. So 10 questions a day, 10 questions a day will take you through the end of next week. All right, so you know that you're going to miss probably 2 class periods next week with me. So you'll want to double up a little bit so that by next weekend, and you've got class time. A lot of you are already way past that. And I've talked to some students that are already halfway through the packet.